Hey everyone, I am so excited that Beth Townsendn is joining us today. Now, Beth was only 17, hardly out of high school, and found herself on her own. She had no other choice but to go to work. She climbed the corporate ladder and at a young age became the VP of an operations for a real estate company. Beth was asked a question numerous times in her life, and that was, how did you know your purpose? Well, in her 20s, she had no idea what her purpose was, but realizing the depth of the question, it led her on a journey that continues to this very day. Welcome, Beth.
Thank you, Daryl. It's so great to be with you. I'm so excited to be a part of this summit. It's exciting to get to see all the other speakers, and I'm going to take notes and learn from everybody.
Yeah, absolutely, because we never stop learning, right?
No.
So, when I ask you to join and be part of this and talk about purpose, you asked the question that really caused me to just stop and pause for a moment. And it was, if it's not on purpose, is it an accident? I thought, interesting question.
Well, the concept of that is based in experience, because
right.
We've all had accidents in our life. We've all done stupid things. And unfortunately, those stupid things have cost us consequences, and we've had to pay the consequences.
Yeah.
So, it's easy to see someone and they're about to go down a wrong road, and you just want to reach out and say, don't do it. I've been down that road. And let me tell you what's going to happen. It's an accident waiting to happen. But
exactly. Yeah.
Purposeful living is simply choosing a disciplined way to do life. It's about thinking about what you're doing. Like I like to say, think about what you're thinking about, because that's going to lead to what you do. And purposeful living eliminates a lot of the trouble, that we could otherwise put our both feet into, go head first. And so I just think it's much easier to think about what we do before we jump out there and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's certain things, like for instance, a hot stove.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are, you're going to get burnt if you touch it.
Yeah.
Right? Gravity. It doesn't matter who you are. What goes up must come down.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that have so many different outcomes. And I think a lot of times people will do something once and say, oh, that didn't work, so I'll never try it again. But in fact, it might have worked if they would have done it differently.
Yeah. Well, and in October, I consider myself an amateur athlete, because I've always been a worker outer, and we'll talk about that, I'm sure. But I was riding my bike and I took a tumble on my bike, and you talked about gravity. Let me tell you something about a head. A head is heavy, and if you fall, you are going to hit your head. And I didn't have on a helmet, and so I cracked open my head. I broke some ribs. I got all kinds of injured. Now I'm better now. But that was an accident that could have been prevented.
Right.
If I'd have worn a helmet and not got distracted by my phone, that accident never would have happened. But instead, I have chosen to learn from that and tell everybody that I can think of, don't get distracted by your phone when you're doing other things, because, people are getting hurt like that a lot. And, do the preventative things in life to help you protect your path towards purpose. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you know what? I just turned 60, so I've got a little bit of life experience to know exactly what you're saying is right on.
Yeah.
Let's go back for a moment here. You were 17 years old, out there on your own in every aspect of life. This journey that you went on for purpose is very interesting. Tell us a little more about that.
Well, when I graduated high school, my dad had been married several times, and my mom's marriage at the time had collapsed. So our whole family was in chaos. My single mom raised 5 kids on her own. And so at this point, her life, she was moving away. So she sold our home. We couldn't pay for it. She had no choice. So at this point, she was moving away. I was the fifth kid, and I was graduating high school. So there was no house, there was no job, there was no. I mean, it was sink or swim time. So
Tough times.
oh, it was so hard. And we talked about this a little bit before. You think you want to get out on your own, and you think you want to become an adult, and you think you want to be in charge of yourself, until all of a sudden you're facing the realities that come with that. And
oh yeah,
yeah, I was facing those. So I went to work as a bank teller, and ended up moving off to Virginia to get into the field of property management, because it came with an apartment and it came with a salary, and I had to go where the money was.
right.
And so that became the field that I climbed the corporate ladder in. And the reason that I ended up, I mean, this is an incredible story, I think, for people to know how attitude can change everything. So I'm a young executive. I've been to Virginia. I've been successful in climbing up a ladder there. I moved to Atlanta, and I become a regional manager for a real estate company. Right. And I'm sitting around a corporate table with a bunch of people in suits and degrees and, all stuffy, and, they think they've got it all together. And I'm somewhat intimidated by the level of experience that's around the table. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm gonna watch, I'm gonna learn, I'm gonna listen. But the president of the company had not come into the meeting yet. So prior to that, we're all sitting around this beautiful conference table in this beautiful conference room, and all the talk is, I can't believe the company policy this, and I can't believe he's making us work these hours. And it was backbiting, it was terrible. And then the boss comes in, and everybody's like, rah, rah, go company. And I remember that day, I thought, first of all, I had no plan B. This job had to work for me. I like to say work had to work for me, because I didn't have a plan B. So their perspective might have been different, but I didn't have somewhere to go walk out of there because I was angry to something else. But I decided in that moment, I'll never become what they are, because they're negative, they're not being truthful. And from there, that day on, I thought, this is not going to be as hard as I thought it was, paving my way to success. Because I'm pretty sure if I have a great attitude and if I work really hard, I got some tools that are valuable to this company.
Yeah, exactly. Man, that's good. And this is all before we even knew what imposter syndrome was.
Yeah. Yes. And, it's so true. We think that we need to have, and I'm all about experience, and I'm all about whatever education you can get. That just wasn't in the cards for me. Mm-hmm. So I had to carve out tools that were going to work for me. And I passed by many people that had lots more education than me, but I was willing to work hard, and I did not, still to this day, don't talk bad about others. If there was a problem within the company, which there were, I went to that person. I was proactive, but I never became that negative Nelly. And I'm so thankful, because that's great. Been very good for me.
Awesome. So in your journey, though, you made a conscious decision to seek out people, to interview them, right? To find out what their purpose was and what that looked like, so that you could pick pieces and craft, I guess, your own purpose. Tell us more about that.
Well, by the time I had been years into my industry, I was a huge cheerleader for the work that I did, because it was what saved me. I mean, yes, I had faith in God, kind of growing on the corner over there, but this industry had been so good to me that I became like a cheerleader. So I could recruit people to come work for us. And so the next thing you know, I'm like a spokesperson. I'm teaching seminars. I'm teaching, how to be great in your industry, how to lead and how to recruit people. And so the next thing you know, I'm still in my 20s, and I'm young, but I have learned my industry very well. And I'm all of a sudden up in front of the classes teaching the people that, I thought had so much more experience than me. So because I was good at that, and because I was good at my job, people started saying, well, how did you know your purpose? I mean, how did you know what you were supposed to do with your life? And, most of the time it was like, I just want to be able to pay the bills,
Yeah.
But eventually that question sunk a little bit deeper into my soul. And, I still remember thinking, I think purpose may be a God thing. And so maybe I should pray about that. And with that came the, okay, if people wake up every day and they know what God's called them here to do and they're doing it, those are the people I want to learn from. So I started sending out letters to people across the country saying, hey, can I come talk to you about how you knew what God called you to do and how you're doing it? And a lot of people said yes. And that was in 2001, and I'm still doing that today.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So would you say purpose and why are similar, if not the same?
Yes, I would say they are the same, because deep down, every person knows they're here for a purpose. This is why so many people are dissatisfied with their work. Yeah. Because deep down, there's that God hole, that, okay, what am I here for? And so, yes, I would say they're the same. But what happens is, and this happened to me, and it's happened to most people, is in order to find that one thing that, oh, I'm great at this, this is what God put me here to do, this is where my giftedness is, we tend to go after everything. We want to do it all because we want to do everything so we don't miss the one thing. Right. And what happens is we miss the one thing because we're doing everything. And, one of the purpose principles that is so great for me, and I probably talk about the most, is knowing your nots. I mean, everybody wants to know who they are.
That's good.
Everybody wants to know what to do. But the most important part of your life is, as a speaker, especially as a Christian speaker, I can say I'm not a Bible teacher, so I don't have to go out and try to become, the biblical scholar. I can go knowing that's not who I am. So, it's not knowing who you are that's so important, because if you know all of who you're not, then who you are begins to freely emerge. And it's not what you put on your calendar that's so important. It's what you choose not to put on your calendar. You have to know your nots. You have to love, accept, embrace everything that you're never going to be, so you can be great at who you really are.
That's good stuff right there. Wow. Just that alone in this session is gold. Knowing you're not. So many people try to be all things to all people. Yeah. And then they fail at what they do best.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember one time my husband told me to tell a joke on stage, and I botched it so bad. I thought, okay, so I'm not a comedian. I'll tell funny stories. And I do. Most of my stories have a lot of humor in them because they're from people that, that it's just a lot of great real life stories. But I'm not a comedian, but I can tell funny stories. So, I don't have to go out there and try to be something that I'm not. I can sit back and really think about, here's what I'm great at. And, social media plays a lot of tricks on us because
it does. We'll
see people doing all these things. And, I literally tried to copycat. This was something last year. I tried to copycat. I saw a friend of mine do, and I thought, well, that worked so well for her. I'm going to try that myself. And, those things are not going to work. Trying to do what other people are doing because it works for them is a great reason not to do something, because, it's just not going to work. You got to do what's your thing, and you got to let everybody else, as they say today, stay in their lane.
Right. Now, you've got these people who genuinely want to find out what their why is or their purpose. Mm-hmm. Where do they start?
Well, as a coach, I take people through, I build on the pillars of purpose. So one of the pillars of purpose is your physical body. I mean, you know this, and this is part of the summit. You have to look at the energy that you have. On a scale of 1 to 10, where's your energy? And that's one of the questions I get most. Where do you get your energy? And because I have a lot of energy, that's something I've always had. So you have to look at where are you on that scale, because your purpose, you might have to start with some physical changes. You might have to start with some new habits. People, who are the people in your life? Just because you have a lot of people in your life don't mean you have the right people in your life.
Correct.
So you have to turn up voices of the right people, and you have to turn down sometimes turn off voices of other people. So the people in your life have to be very intentional. If you don't have the right people in your life, you got to go out and find them. So you can't just sit home and wait on your team to build. You've got to go, I need an encourager. I need, though you got to think about that. And then the other one is provision. So you got to think about what most people say is holding them back from living their dreams or living their purpose is money. Okay. Maybe that's so. So what's your plan around that? What are some things you can do to begin to map out a plan? Because most of us are doing what we have to do. And that's all we're doing. So you can't just change everything overnight. It's like in the physical sense. Okay, you want to get healthier? Give up soft drinks. Start with one thing. And so I like to build on the people, the provision, and the physical, and really look at those things, because those three things really will determine the team and the support that you've got in place for the other things. Does that make sense?
Oh, I love that, because to me, it's all about tribe. It's about community.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so many times we've got people in our lives, even loved ones, we can't necessarily shut them out because we're related.
Right.
But we do have to make a conscious decision to, okay, not if I'm going to do this. Folks, it's time to do this.
Right.
It really is.
Right.
It all starts up here.
Mm-hmm.
And so find a tribe. Find a community where you can get the support you need. It is so, so critical to your success. It absolutely is. Yeah.
And, discipline on purpose is doing things on purpose. And that's a disciplined approach. And so, people think, well, I'm going to get healthy. Well, but how? I mean, what are your strategies to get to that? I mean, are you going to quit eating fried foods? Are you going to, my philosophy to health is, I'm going to eat very disciplined during the week. And if I'm going to cheat, I'm going to cheat on the weekends. And that kind of works for me. And you have to think of small choices that have big return on investment, because that's how you develop a hunger for discipline. You see that it works, but you have to try something and see, wow, that worked for me. Then you add one thing at a time.
Yeah. And sometimes it's not a short gain.
No.
You don't see it immediately. It takes a while. Mm-hmm. I share this with a lot of people, and you'll hear it several times throughout the summit. And that is, when's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago, because now you'd be sitting under the shade and enjoying the tree, right? Mm-hmm. But you didn't. So when's the next best time to plant a tree? Right now. Today.
Right now, today. Yeah.
Right now, today. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get the shade tomorrow, next week, a year from now, but it will come, and it'll come in little bits.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And patience.
Very good.
Patience is a big part of purpose, because we seek progress, not perfection, because we all want to leap towards an immediate win. And there are some of those. There are some things that are just going to produce quick results, but most things require what I call steady plodding over time. Health is one of those things, and healthy is a lifestyle. It's not a diet. It's not a it's choices that you make every day. And I'm 57, so we're at the same age. I have come to the conclusion that if I don't want to wear it, I better not eat it, because if I do, it's going to show up somewhere. So that's what I think about when I see king cake this time of year in Louisiana. Okay, do I really want to see that showing up somewhere else? Nope. So I might have a bite, but the truth is I'm not gonna, because it's just not worth it.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I was thinking about, if it's not on purpose, is it an accident? And something like, I see so many people out there that all of a sudden something happens in life, and they have the attitude of, wow, this was kind of coincidental. Mm-hmm. Was it an accident? It could be diabetes. It could be lots of different things that happen in our lives. Mm-hmm. And trust me, it was kind of on purpose, because you didn't make a choice earlier in life. Mm-hmm. So it's not an accident that you have that.
Right.
Right?
That's very true. And, I like to say past forward, because your past is only productive. I mean, everybody comes from a broken family. Everybody comes from poor old broken parents. I mean, if you've been a parent, you have a lot more sympathy for the ones you came from.
I got a story. I got to drop this in.
Yeah.
My dad, he was actually born in a shack in the prairies. And he said that they were so poor they couldn't afford a chimney, so they had to carry the smoke out in pails. Sorry, but you're right. Most of us come from some kind of dysfunctional or some, poor
Every
state
family is dysfunctional. I mean, we're in a broken world. From a faith perspective, you see, we're from a broken world. So much like your family, our family, we didn't know how long. Every time we paid a house payment, we thought, okay, we got another month, because that's how short term we lived. And now all of us, there's 5 kids. My brother's on to heaven, but there's 4 girls. And we laugh because we all still hoard food. I mean, all of us are empty nesters. And you go into any of our cabinets and you see massive amounts of food. And my husband's like, years ago, he's like, we don't need any more tomatoes. And I'm like, look, let me just tell you something. I'm always going to have more food than we need, because that's something that, it's just part of what makes me feel better, because that's what we did, it's as a result of always wondering, were we going to make it to the next month? Now it makes us feel so much better. But not only is that something that we carried over from being a childhood where you're hoping you don't go hungry. Now, when people come into our homes, we can whip up a meal in 15 minutes. We have, we have hospitality galore because we understand that we have food that we can give. It's just become something that we laugh about. We get together and I'm like, do you really need any more Cheez-Its, to my sister? And she's like, maybe. It's like, okay, so this is who we are, and it's okay. But it's just a carryover that, you turn into a positive the best you can. And then you use what you got.
Absolutely. And, some people really have a hard time with that positive mindset. But then again, you know what? Find your tribe, find your community. Mm-hmm. And because, hey, we've been there, done that. Mm-hmm. We know exactly what it's like. You can't pull the wool over our eyes, so we'll tell you the truth when you need it. Mm-hmm. That's the nice thing about, having a support system that are not biased to you necessarily. Because, example, when you're trying to be accountable to a family or a friend, they're not always going to tell you the truth because they're walking on eggshells around you. Right. Because when they say the truth, you just might lash back at them. Mm-hmm. Nobody wants that. Right. But when you get into a community of people of like mind, been there, done that, hey, they're not going to judge you because, for every finger pointed forward, they got fingers pointing back, right? Yeah. And we just want to see people succeed. We want to see their lives transformed, not just their body. You know what? Yeah, this thing is a little bit about weight loss. That's because that's my journey. Right. But really, folks, it's mostly about this. It's about finding your purpose, your why, aligning your values, doing all that. We're running out of time, Beth, and sorry for that little bit of a rant there. But what's one last thing that you could just drop on everyone? A little bit of wisdom at the end of the session.
I think that the main thing is to just kind of have a day or two where you kind of sit down with yourself and you give yourself the freedom to pray and to let go of all the things that you're not really going to pursue. This is how I decide if I'm going to do something. As a Christian, it's as for the Lord. If you're going to do something as for the Lord, do it. So if you're not going to do it that well, with that much commitment to excellence, then you need to start taking those off your list. I mean, don't sign up for a Bible study and then not have time to do the Bible study. You're better off not doing it because you're going to have a guilt trip because you didn't have time to do it. Eliminate that. So whatever you do it better than anybody else. Be your very, very best. And start with words because, you talked about, the cup half full or the cup half empty mindsets. You can change your mindset by changing how you speak, not only to yourself, but to others. If you begin to listen to what you're saying you're paving the path to where you're going by what you're saying. You got to change. I can lose weight. I can choose health. I can give up soft drinks. I can choose to give up sugar. You have to begin to say the things you want to become a reality, because if you think them and you say them, then you can then do them, and that begins to change everything. I like to say, change your words, change your world.
Absolutely. Man, this is good stuff. Oh, we could go on for a lot longer.
We could.
Listen, Beth, thank you so much for spending time with us. Now, everyone that's joining this summit, Beth has something that she wants to give you for free. So what is that, Beth?
It's Purpose Principles. So I have been interviewing people since 2001. So with each interview, there's hundreds. I mean, I don't have hundreds in there, but I have purpose principles that are consistent with the people that I've interviewed that I'm going to share with everyone. Right. And these are people that wake up every day, they know what they're supposed to do, and they've shared that insight with me, and I'm sharing it with the viewers.
Wow. I'm going to get that. I'll tell you that right now. Now, also, one person that attends the summit is going to get a free gift from Beth. What is that?
My book.
Awesome.
Book. This is Life on Purpose, and it's You Must Be Led So You Can Lead. I have found in my life that if, I'm a very independent go-getter personality. I have found that if I let God lead me, I do much better at leading others because I have first been led. So this is my faith journey. This is, this is my accidents. This is my on purpose transition. So, and it's sprinkled with interviews. So it's a fun book to read, but it's how I got to where I am today.
Now, is it available on Amazon?
It is. It's available on Amazon, and it's BethTownsendn.com. It's Barnes and Noble, and it's easy to find.
Awesome. So Beth just told you two different ways that you can get in touch with her. Her website.
Yep.
And you can find her book on Amazon.
Yes. Yay.
Wonderful. And we'll put the links in the chat here so that it's just a click away and you can do that. Anyways, thanks again, Beth, for spending time with us.
Thank you for having me. It's been great.
Thank you, folks, for spending time with us as well. This has been awesome. Yes. And follow Beth.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Bless you all.